everyone, I am Generose Gonzaga, and in this video, I'll be going to tackle Chapter 2, Lesson 3, and it's all about the ethnocentrism and relativism. So let's start.
So what is ethnocentrism? Ethnocentrism is judging another culture by the values and standards of your own culture. Hence, it is considered a natural proclivity of human psychology, though it has developed a generally negative connotation. Ethnocentrism means that one may see his or her own culture as the correct way of living, but for those who may not experience other cultures in depth, can be said to be ethnocentric if they feel that their lives are the most natural way of living. But some cultures may be similar or overlapped in ideas or concepts. However, some people are in a sense of shock to experience differences. They may encounter individuals culturally different than themselves. In extreme cases, a group of individuals may see other cultures' way of life and consider it wrong. Because of this group may try to convert the other group to their own ways of living. It is also important to note that ethnocentrism leads to the formation of the feelings of us and them, which creates and enforces the ideas of an in a group and on out group, where the former will refer to the people of one's own culture, the latter to the people of another culture. This process will create the tendency of in-group favoritism or bias. So like for example, when we judge the taste of the Chinese in eating insects as gross or disgusting, simply because we are not used to eat such food, we are automatically implying that the food choices or practice of our own culture is more normal than theirs, and thus it is better and not disgusting. According to William G. Sumner, ethnocentrism is defined as the technical name for the view of things in which one's own group is the center of everything and all others are scaled and rated with reference to it. He coined also that ethnocentrism is a belief that the norms, values, ideology, customs, and traditions of one's own culture or subculture are superior to those characterizing other cultural settings. He further characterized it as often leading to pride, vanity, beliefs of one's own group's superiority, and contempt of outsiders. In the study of anthropology, ethnocentric are people born into particular culture that grow up absorbing the values and behaviors of the culture will develop a worldwide that consider their cultural to be the norm or standard. And now, let's move on to our second topic, which is the cultural relativism. What is cultural relativism? Cultural relativism, it is the principle that an individual person's beliefs and activities should be understood by others in terms of that individual's own culture. Also, it is the ability to understand a culture on its own terms and not to make judgments using the standards of one's own culture. It was established and accepted in anthropological research by Franz Boas. Boas insisted that anthropologists approach each culture on its own terms, in light of its own motions and worth and value. He argued all humans have equal capacities for culture, although human actions might be considered morally right or wrong. No culture was more evolved or of greater value than another. However, Boas did not coin the term. Boas understood culture to include not only certain taste in food, art, music, or beliefs about religion. So there are two kinds of cultural relativism. First is what we call the absolute. Everything that happens within a culture must and should not be questioned by outsiders. Absolute cultural relativism is displayed in many cultures, especially in Africa. They practice female genital cutting, This procedure refers to the partial or total removal of the external female genitalia or any other trauma to the female reproductive genital organs. By allowing this procedure to happen, females are considered human and then are able to be married. The second is the critical. Critical relativism creates questions about cultural practices in terms of who is accepting them and why. It also recognizes power relationships. The example of this is the Chinese culture and their process of foot binding. Foot binding was to stop the growth of the foot and make them smaller. The process began between 4 and 7 years old. A 10-foot bandage will be wrapped around the foot, forcing the toes to under the foot. It caused the big toe to be closer to the heel, causing the foot to bow. In China, small feet were seen as beautiful and a symbol of status. And that would be all in generalization. Ethnocentrism, the tendency to assume that one's own culture and way of life represent the norm or are superior to all others. And the cultural relativism, the viewing of people's behavior from the perspective of their own culture. Despite how humans have in common, cultural differences are more prevalent than cultural universal. I hope you're enjoying yourself while listening to the topic and that you have gained some knowledge from it. Thank you and God bless.